Welcome to the web series show. On today's episode, we'll meet the creators of the web series, The Bomb Shelter. When I came across their series, what I really found interesting was they were able to create a web series in one central location. Now that's not easy to do. It was funny and entertaining and took place in that one location. Let's take a look.
Where were you last night?
Sweetheart, please, you're making a scene.
I don't care.
Bill, I'm sorry. Lisa and I didn't mean for this to happen. It's not something we planned. The heart wants what it wants.
I want more out of life, Bill. All you do is read your book. You have no drive, no ambition. You know what Frank did today? He alphabetized the fruit.
Did you know we have two types of peaches?
I saw a story on 2020 once about a guy who would get up in the middle of the night and make love to sheep. Leave me alone!
Oh, sweetheart, it's okay. It's just a pet.
Is everything all right?
Yes, I'm just fine. He just had a nightmare.
Garden gnomes again?
They're everywhere.
To create a web series in general, the idea was just we'd wanted to do something for so long, and with the way things are nowadays, we figured we could just do this on our own without anybody's permission.
Right.
And for the idea itself, you read about stuff and it says, whatever you do, try to keep it small. Right. Try to find a small location. Yeah. So I had an idea for a story a while back, which involved a guy who wanders through the desert. Okay. He's sort of like this nomadic character, and everybody I talked to said, like, we're not shooting in the desert.
Disneyland and all this
big stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I started thinking, I'm like, well, where would this guy have come from? And it's supposed to be this post-apocalyptic world, and we figured, well, maybe he started off in this little bomb shelter. So we figured that would simplify things. Right.
He has tons of ideas and all these little screenplays, and he's always wanting to shoot them. And it's massive budgets that you're talking about with all the locations, and this was the first idea.
You don't think about that when you write, though. No. You're just like, we'll work this out later.
Yeah.
But this was the first idea in that single location. Right. And I thought, all right, I think we can actually do this.
It's funny because the one thing that was the most difficult, which I didn't pay attention to, we had the small little location, we're trying to keep things simple, and one of the things you just write, a line of it's like, and they're surrounded by thousands of cans.
Right.
And my wife said, where are we going to get these cans from? And I said, it's not going to be an issue. So what was it, like 3-4 days before we started shooting? We were like, where are we going to get these cans? We couldn't find cans anywhere. So we had to make 500 cans.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, you keep it small, but in your mind, you just don't see the little things that can still really become very big.
We rented a warehouse in Van Nuys, which was great, and we had it for a couple months. So we knew we could just kind of set our ground in there.
It started off, we were going to have it for maybe a month. Okay. And then, I thought I could build the set in a week,
right.
Which became 3 weeks. And then shooting became much longer. So we had it in
Yeah,
Van
we had
Nuys.
hoped to find a place, that had the cinder block walls and all this. This had none of it. It had a staircase in the back, so we had to build a fake wall to block all of it out.
Yeah.
And so it was painting all the walls to make it look like he did the whole floor because he didn't like the it was like the oil-stained concrete, so it covered all that
So we got flooring and then sponge painted the floor.
Oh, great.
It rolled the sponge painted. So.
Really, really impressive.
Well, we're both actors. Both went to school for it. I studied theater in Philadelphia. Mindy studied musical theater in New York. So we actually we met in Florida, and we both realized we had this same connection. That's how we first got together. And when we moved to California, we said we wanted to work.
Okay.
So we used our backgrounds to do that.
Well, coming to production, I felt confident from an actor standpoint. I felt like I knew how to cast. With theater background, it was kind of like hair and makeup, wardrobe, all that stuff came easy. Finding the crew, and we had massive problems with hair and makeup, finding an artist for that. And it was also difficult because we basically paid for it all ourselves, completely financed it, therefore we couldn't really afford to pay anybody.
Right.
So we did a deferred pay, which basically meant everybody donated their time and talent to us for free.
And that being said, it's amazing how many people really want to be part of something. That's one thing that's amazing out here is everybody really wants to be a part of something that they believe in. Right. They believe in doing. So we found some great people. We worked under a SAG contract, a new media contract.
Oh, great.
And we had some really dedicated people. That was something we were really worried about, being one of the biggest challenges, but it turned out to be one of the easier things.
Because you're thinking, all right, we have kind of a tight schedule.
Right.
in the sense of trying to get everybody's schedules to mesh, and you don't want to interfere with anybody's jobs, because obviously they have to still make money since they're working for us for free. And so kind of juggling all that was a bit of a challenge, but we got really lucky with the people who worked with us.
And again, a lot of the crew that we met with, right away, sometimes you just get a really good feel for a person. And some of us got along so well that we're still friends now, but the thing would be, I wanted to make sure we didn't go past 8 hours, because I didn't want to take advantage of anybody, and I always hated being on a set. One of the things I hate is someone saying, do you have any idea how long the day is going to go? And you get this attitude like, how dare you just not be here for us whenever we need you? So I remember the first day we were going to go long, and I said, listen, it's totally up to you guys. At first I just said, let's cut. And someone came to me and said, well, why don't we shoot longer? And I said, well, it would be up to you. And they all said, no, we want to stay. So the crew, they would call on days we weren't working and said, do you need anything? Can we come in today and help out? So I think it was a real experience to show you that instead of, anybody out there who might want to make something and think, well, I don't want to ask people to help, because how dedicated will these people be? There are a lot of people out there really willing to help make a good product. But again, the beautiful thing is you don't need anybody's permission. You don't have to wait for a studio to do something. If I want to go out and shoot in the desert tomorrow, with the exception of my friends saying I'm not doing it, or my wife, I can just go out there and do it.
Enough money, just you and your cameraman.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to do that as long as people let me, Until my wife takes my camera away, I guess.
All right, well, thank you guys. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
I look forward to seeing more episodes. What I'd like to highlight from today's episode of my interview with Marcus and Mindy was they did something that's unique, something I think is really important. They scheduled a start and a stop time for their shooting days. That way, the crew and the cast, they know what's expected of them, and they don't have the feeling that they may work an 18-hour day or whatever, and they don't feel that pressure that they can't ask, when is this going to be over with? When is the shooting day? And Marcus and Mindy told me their crew really appreciated that, and they wanted to stay longer. They wanted to go that extra mile, and they had a pleasant environment for them to work in. And that's real important on a web series. That's why their show turned out so upbeat and positive. And I think that's something that web series producers should keep in mind. I'm James Tucker, and you've been watching The Web Series Show. You can watch the full uncut episode on our website, thewebseriesshow.com.